is no one thought to do this before?
No, it's so logical when you look at it.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at the all-time most chaotic moments on the Grand Tour.
Oh dear, no!
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 10. Lawyers in the Tesla.
There are, however, some drawbacks. But before talking about those, Mr. Willman said I should fill the remaining 6 seats with a team of lawyers.
In 2008, Top Gear reviewed a Tesla Roadster, at the time a brand new electric car, but still with battery life that left much to be desired. Clarkson brought up the less than ideal battery life and added a visual gag about it being pushed off the track.
But in my experience, electric cars never do the range that
How extensive is your experience, Jeremy?
3 years later, and Tesla decided to sue Top Gear for libel, with the case being thrown out of court. But in 2021, he was back again, reviewing a Tesla Model X.
Because it depends on temperature, it depends on a million things. And anyway,
as you've said, legally we need to make very clear it depends. It depends on the conditions.
To avoid a repeat of the embarrassing 2011 lawsuit, Clarkson loaded up his newer Tesla with half a dozen solicitors and only said things the legal team approved while driving them down the motorway. Suffice it to say, this time he wasn't sued.
Evidence to the contrary.
What, you just take what a car manufacturer says as being gospel?
Well, I
Vauxhall
wouldn't.
says its cars are exciting.
Number 9. Stansted Airport.
This is my accelerator, my brake, and then I simply, sitting on it, being quite careful to keep that away from my plums, and I am ready to go.
Clarkson and Hammond were challenged to reinvent the wheel, and by wheel we mean air travel, by creating a new mode of transport to navigate the terminals.
I mean, that does look a bit dangerous.
It is. That's why I'm wearing all these pads.
Clarkson goes about this by attaching a steering wheel and some pedals to his suitcase, while Hammond brings an industrial laptop equipped with wheels, like a skateboard.
Another advantage of this, I am tall. I reckon I'm 5'11" on this.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a role reversal.
It's good.
I'm going to be honest with you.
After crashing their way through the check-in desk, it's time to go through security, which proves difficult because of all their bizarre integrated electronics.
No. Oh, sorry, man.
Jeremy, you killed a man.
They also make the grave error of trucking through duty-free and crashing into random people, breaking all those precious, tax-free Toblerones. Number 8. Dogs in the boot.
Hammond, you idiot.
What?
What are they?
If you say dog in Canada, these are what you get.
What better way to test how big your car boot is than by competing to see how many dogs it can fit? Hammond goes and finds some appropriate dogs, bringing back an army of Newfoundlands. As well as being huge and disobedient for the trio, some of the dogs also get a bit too excited and start trying to breed on camera.
They're having sex
There's dog
you.
sex. There's actual dog sex going on. Dog sex.
Maybe we should
We
look away
don't need
from
to
that.
see this.
But it was almost impossible to entice the dogs into the SUVs because they seem to have very little experience with cars.
Up we go. In we go.
The dog has never been in a car and doesn't want to go in one.
Finally, they realise that their entire endeavour is doomed because the boots detect that the dogs are moving around and refuse to close completely.
Yeah, the problem is, you know electric tailgates?
If they sense anything, they'll open.
Yes, that's what's... So it can't actually close.
Number 7. Portable Aquarium.
Follow.
May has a plan to transport freshwater fish in his car, and it involves building a portable aquarium.
Keep going!
He starts pumping water out of the sea and into his Mercedes and the big glass tank he's installed, but there's a problem. He's parked on wet sand, and the tide has come in, stranding him. He demands that Clarkson tow him in his 4x4, but it ends up being so heavy that it knackers Clarkson's gearbox.
When I said stop, you accelerated.
Yeah, that did happen.
The noise of my disintegrating gearbox was drowning you out.
Eventually, May is freed from the beach, but Clarkson continues to mess with him, slowing down his truck when he's in front of May to force him to brake. The deluge just keeps going. So much for the fish.
And brake testing James May.
Number 6. Vehicle-to-vehicle refueling vehicle. Another brainwave from James May. He's decided that the best way to stop people queuing for miles to get to petrol stations is to create a mobile petrol station.
Yes, welcome everybody to the world's first vehicle-to-vehicle refueling vehicle.
This petrol station would be able to refuel moving cars, much like how planes can refuel each other in mid-air, but it all goes horribly wrong. They go on to demonstrate, insisting that the details have been ironed out, when May breaks Hammond's window with his fuel finger.
This is the key to your success.
Sorry, think of it as a business opportunity.
It gets worse when the fuel tank is torn off and ends up being dragged along the track behind Hammond. It soon ignites, and so does his car.
What's happened?
Hammond, right, you're on fire! Bail out!
Oh no!
Number 5. Desert boat.
I've gone, as you can see, for a nautical theme.
In the desert.
Yes, bear with me.
The gang is well known for hating caravans, but they're not keen on American RVs either. So, they were sent off to a US desert to put some RVs through their paces. May puts a pub in the back of his, while Clarkson's is nautical themed and complete with boat controls on the roof, so he can sit back and enjoy the sandy seas.
I'm going to have to retake control.
But the controls end up breaking down, and then he can't get into the RV because the hatch gets stuck. Luckily, nobody's in immediate danger because they're in the middle of a dry lake with nothing around.
Guys, could you do like a pincer movement? Okay? Come alongside me at the same time and try and slow me down.
Clarkson then asks Hammond and May to slow him down and proceeds to relieve them of their wing mirrors.
My fuel tank is just down there, so
It's worked a bit.
Okay, that's a small accident there.
Number 4. Trebuchet.
So it doesn't start here?
No, it starts over there. Oh, quality work.
Do Citroens belong in England? No, of course not. So Clarkson, Hammond and May headed to the south coast to send a Citroen C3 Pluriel across the English Channel to Calais, where it should stay. They put their heads together and decide that they're going to use a medieval trebuchet to fling the car over the sea.
So the car, when I pull this, goes round, loops round, and then goes to France?
Yep.
Exactly.
And if it works, it'll be the fastest Pluriel ever.
They equip it with a huge counterweight and lob it, waiting to see if it actually makes it to France.
Whoa! There it goes! Yes!
Of course it doesn't, but it's still impressive to see a car launched like this. It goes on to crash into a building and completely obliterates it, and it probably wasn't even a French building, alas. Number 3. Jet-powered amphibious car.
My big fear is, let's be modest and say, let's say we reached 80. So from here, we've got to have to just use drag to slow us down before we hit the far bank.
Every time these three try to make amphibious cars, it always ends in absurdity, and this attempt was no exception. They're specifically wanting to break the speed record for an amphibious vehicle, and Clarkson decides the best way to do this is by equipping a car with a fighter jet engine. What could possibly go wrong?
We are now going to fire up the jet engine.
Hammond doesn't want to join them because of his aversion to jet engines, which is completely understandable after his infamous vampire dragster crash.
Seriously, right, go!
So it's just Clarkson and May taking it out onto the water. But just how fast did it go with a jet engine at full throttle? At a grand speed of 3 miles an hour. And then it almost sinks, predictably.
I mean, that jet is from a Russian fighter. That is capable of keeping a Russian fighter in the air. Why won't it make us go more than 3?
Number 2. Ecological cars.
It's a mud car.
You got flat tyres?
No, they're not flat. They're pumped up as high as they will go without exploding.
They are challenged with making the most sustainable, eco-friendly cars they can, and manage this by taking some cars and equipping them with eco-friendly building materials. Hammond goes with twigs, Clarkson with skin and bone, while May brings up the rear with a mud car.
How much does it weigh, James?
What units would you like?
Tons.
5.
The mud car fails disastrously, with bits of mud dropping from the chassis as he drives. He then decides to go for a different material, peat. It's with a car covered in mud and straw that he enters the race, but it's not May who has the worst time on the track. Even though Clarkson's car gets eaten by dogs and infested with maggots, Hammond suffers the most, with his wicker garden centre car catching fire.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's going to make it worse!
Number 1. The hill climb.
Right, well, I can either drive like this with a helmet on, or... what the hell are we going to do?
The blokes headed to Switzerland for this notorious episode to take part in what should have been a relatively fun hill climb event in their supercars. Clarkson causes chaos right away by being so tall he can't fit inside his Lamborghini with a helmet, leading him to get an Italian Clarkson impersonator. But Hammond got into another near-fatal crash.
Yeah, actually, it is the most powerful car here by some margin.
Well, I can't promise to...
It's the fastest car
win.
I've ever seen!
What's unhinged about all this, though, is the way we see Clarkson and May get into his head about the Rimac Concept 1 before he goes around the track.
It's for them.
In 52 seconds' time, you're going to be whatever the equivalent of a hero of the Soviet Union is, but in modern-day Croatia.
He'd already done a few practice runs, but he ended up losing control of the car and getting into an accident. It was miraculous that he survived, though he did break his knee. Let us know in the comments what your favourite Grand Tour special was and how sad you are to see it go.
I don't think they needed the neck braces in the end.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.